Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to expand our register form and take additional properties from the user. And what we'll do, we'll just take our username and we'll just copy this down a few more times. And we'll just update this to take in the additional properties. Now the ordering is not important inside here. Angular doesn't care what order we put these properties in. It doesn't have to match what we do inside the template, but just to keep things organized, I'm going to use the order that we'll take in the values inside here. So we'll say gender first of all, and what we'll do, because this is going to be radio buttons, we'll just give this a default value of male, and then we won't add a validator because radio buttons are tricky that way, but we force the user to make a selection. Then we'll keep the username as it is. We'll also take their known as property, what do they want to be known as, and we'll make that required. We'll take their date of birth, and we'll need to do something with the dates, but for now we'll just keep this as a string and say that this is required as well. And then we'll take their city and just make this a normal required property, and then we'll take the country, and again we'll just keep this as required. And then what we can do, we can go to our register component template, and because we made the effort to create these text inputs, then this makes our form development really nice and easy now. And what we can do is we can just copy this text input, and I'm just going to paste it down several times, and that's probably enough. And of course what we need to do now is just update the different properties. So we'll deal with the radio buttons separately because we can't use our text input for those, of course. And the first one here we'll keep as username, and then we'll update the other properties. So we'll have known as, and then we'll have dates of birth, and then we'll have city, and then we'll have country. And for the labels, what we'll do is just say known as, and for the date of birth we'll say date of birth, and for the city we'll just say city, and for the country obviously we'll just say country. So above the username input, what we'll need to do, we'll just need to do something different for the radio button. We're not going to create a special custom control for this. We'll just do this one manually ourselves because we're not adding validation to this either, because it's a radio button and it's going to have a selected value by default. So what we'll do is we'll specify label, and we'll give this a class of control dot or control dash label, and we won't give it a for property. And we'll give it some style, and we'll just specify margin right, and we'll say 10 pixels, and inside here we'll say I am a colon space, and then we'll add another label, and this is going to be radio dash in line, and remove the for property, and inside the label what we'll do is we'll specify an input, and this is going to be of type radio, and we'll give this a value equal to male, and we'll give it a form control name equal to gender, and then we'll add a space and say male, and then we'll just copy this input and the label and just paste it below, and we'll say this is female, and we'll specify female here, and we'll just give this some margin left to move it away from the other one. So we'll say class ML-3, and let's go take a look at our form and see how we're doing here. So I'll just click on register, and we can see we've got all of our different form inputs. We've got all of the labels that seem okay, and we've got our radio button that we can choose between male and female. And if we just go through, let's just make sure we've got validation on all of these. And that looks good. And we can see the different labels that we get automatically. And think about how much HTML we'd have needed to type to get this. If we didn't use that custom form control, then we've obviously saved ourselves a bunch of typing. So I'm just going to put some random text in here just to make sure that we get all of our values and we can submit them. And I'll add 2 valid passwords, and we get the form status of valid. And if I click on register, then what we should see is all the properties that we've completed there that make up our user that we're going to be registering. But the date is something that we need to take care of. And which one was this? We don't even know. And the date is something we're going to need to take care of. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at what we can do to deal with this next.